Welcome back to this special edition of Cattlemen and Cattlemen as we discuss planning for the future of your cattle operation. So I'm curious, what are some of the greatest misconceptions producers have about estate taxes and how might those misperceptions actually cost them? Jeff, you want to begin?
Sure. The greatest misconception is that estate taxes will never apply to me.
Okay.
They only apply to the billionaires. What can those misconceptions cost? They can cost you the ranch in the end.
Tell us more, Mark.
He's absolutely right on this. A lot of folks think, well, that's only a big outfit's problem. And in this day and age, when the value of assets, land, cattle, machinery has accelerated so much for whatever reason, inflation, et cetera, you may find yourself in a tax bracket you were unexpected, and then you find out that you're behind on the tax planning game. You don't have your things in place to do a good job, and there'll be reparations and repercussions for that.
Let's talk tax law changes. There have been some recent tax law changes, and I suspect there may be some more in the future. Kent, from a Washington, D.C. standpoint, tell us what you know there.
Well, obviously, we keep a very close eye on what's happening in Congress, and the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, that was also known as the Trump tax cuts. A lot of those are set to expire at the end of 2025. For NCBA, this is a top priority, is making sure that we can continue to benefit from a lot of those tools. It's things like estate tax relief, but a lot of the important expensing tools that our producers use. There's never a one-size-fits-all plan for cattle operations. We need to make sure that there's many of those tools available so that you can customize that based on your plan and your goals, and to make sure that your operation can benefit the most.
And what should producers be doing to help you move that forward in D.C.?
Well, Congress is right now, they are starting the process of writing a big tax package, and it's going to be expensive. We know that. So they're looking at cuts. They're looking at where they need to scale back. We are pushing hard for a full repeal of the death tax. That's a heavy lift. It truly is. But that is something that we need. We need everyone out there to engage with their members of Congress. Death tax is the big priority for us, but we also need to protect important things like the 199A small business deduction and 179 expensing, bonus depreciation. Those are all very important tools that we need to make sure that our producers have access to. And so we need them to engage with Congress to make sure they understand just how important this is for us in the countryside.
That's a great challenge. What are the kinds of tax incentives or even government programs that you believe producers should be taking advantage of, Mark?
Well, almost all the above that Ken has talked about, because it's not just for the ranchers and the farmers, it's also a decision that affects local businesses and local economies, especially rural economies, because if you go in and buy equipment, buy supplies, those sort of things that you need, that's a business for them. And if you look at how economics roll, that might be a 3 to 5 turnover in a local economy. That's what helps keep them flourished. It's what helps keep them vibrant. And so we have to look at those things in addition to just ourselves. So, but obviously, the conservation programs, they all require some form of actual material to accomplish. So there's benefits back and forth.
Any other comments, Ken, about what producers should be taking advantage of?
Yeah, I mean, you look at a lot of businesses, just in general, are C corps. They're corporations, and they do that for their own tax benefits. And they have a lower tax rate than most of the small businesses that are out there. Section 199A is a very important one because it allows that deduction on pass-through income up to 20%, and that's a big incentive. That really does, in many ways, level the playing field for a lot of our producers. And without that, many of them may have to convert to either be a C Corp or find other ways to protect their income. So that's one of the big tools that's out there. When you look at the other expensing things, it's 179 has been a really good way for producers to make those investments, to buy equipment, to make those capital investments, but also just making sure that depreciation schedules are not so stretched out that you're stuck with equipment and other things for a long time. Having that bonus depreciation where you can expense a lot of it up front, it makes the difference in whether you're going to be able to expand and improve your operation and remain competitive.
That's a great point. Jeff, I want to lean into your role as a tax professional and a CPA. What should a producer like me or Mark be asking our tax professionals to make certain we're getting the right type of guidance?
That's a tough one. The first question I would ask is, do you have a lot of ranchers and farmers in your client base?
Okay.
If so, they're going to be familiar with some of the unique issues that are impacted the farmers and ranchers. Yeah. And so they'll be, again, more equipped to deal with it.
That's good. Mark, what would you ask?
Boy, that's a great point, because I've actually had to change my tax preparers because they were unfamiliar, and I actually had to walk them through some of the nuances to accomplish that. So that's a really good point. You need to have someone who understands the profession and the business and the need for change in the operation to make it more efficient. Absolutely.